This week, a brand new hero joins the MCU, with Kamala Khan making her live-action debut in Ms. Marvel. As a Muslim American teenager growing up in Jersey City, Kamala Khan is an avid gamer and a voracious fan fiction scribe, but also a superhero megafan with an oversized imagination, particularly when it comes to Captain Marvel. Now, I've had a chance to see the first 2 episodes of the show. Big shout out to the team at Disney Plus UK for this great opportunity. This will be a spoiler-free review as the first episode drops tomorrow, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like movies and TV, this is the place to be, so consider clicking that subscribe button so you don't miss any future conversation on MCU and your favorite movies and TV. And this is very much a great palate cleanser from Moon Knight, a show that was deeply complex on a psychological sense, emotional, dramatic, heavy, with some elements of horror that showed us like how horrifying it actually was for Mark Spector to become a superhero. This is the most contrasting story you could tell right after that, as you bring in a character who is a fan of superheroes and presents us a world through her eyes in a coming-of-age story that is exactly that, first and foremost, with some superheroisms thrown into that. It's light, but it carries this sense of wonder and whimsy, and it is immensely charming. Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan just reels you in and takes you on this wonderful adventure through her personal life, through school life, through her friends, through her culture. And it's also unique to see through her perspective. This is one of the most exciting point of view characters to ever bring us into the MCU, because again, she loves superheroes. She has her own YouTube channel. She always fantasizes about events of the MCU that we know and things that she makes up in her head. Like, the show starts with one of her YouTube videos and her interpretation of the Endgame battle. Immediately it showcases her favorite heroes, her style, and that style that is imbued in her YouTube videos is translated into the visual aesthetics of the show, which are vibrant and colorful and wonderful to see. Like, if she's texting with one of her friends, you'll see the text popping up on the zebra walks or on the neon signs in the buildings, on the windows, and then someone opens the window up and it disappears, and stuff like that throughout that makes this such a distinct Kamala Khan show. And again, Iman Vellani just carries this show with such charm and lovability. You just can't help but love this young girl as the show takes you through her life and presents you through her problems at school, her problems at home, where she never really feels like she fits in one place or the other entirely. And seeing these conflicts come to life, being presented through the perspective of such a lovable character, make them extremely compelling. Obviously, this is a character from a Pakistani background, from a Muslim family, a very traditional Muslim family, and we dive into their faith, into their family life, into their traditions, and the show takes care of these topics and these characters with great nuance. Like in the first episode, she wants to go to this Avengers Con thing. She wants to go dressed as Captain Marvel. That's her favorite superhero. Her parents are not a lot into that. So the way the show handles this discussion of the parents having rules and she doesn't want to abide by the rules, and there's this big argument and all that. But the show makes you see both sides. You might lean more towards Kamala, you might lean more towards her parents, but you understand both sides and what they want from one another. You understand the conflict, you are compelled by the conflict. Just their family life is extremely interesting. It's a better version of what Black Lightning ever was, where you have a slice of life, fresh, breezy, but nevertheless compelling and interesting, with its own fair share of drama in a coming-of-age story where that is the main flavor, and then their super heroics are the spice. There's one big action sequence in each episode. One per episode, per the 2 I watched, at least. And they are fun. They're really great. We're still like in those first steps of Kamala learning to be your superhero, learning to control and to use her powers. And that works great because it focuses more on her as a person, on her personal conflicts and balancing it all. And I found that to be very interesting. It won't be for everyone. I think that's okay. This is different. This is fresh. And speaking of refreshing, by now you know they've changed Kamala's powers from the comics, which is understandable. You couldn't really have a polymorph on a show like this. You'd have to bring in every actor every time she wanted to transform. That's not feasible. That's not budgetarily responsible or even story-wise responsible. But I like the change that they give. Her powers are visually interesting. She has more of these like Green Lantern sort of powers where she imagines something and brings it to life. But again, she's just in these early stages, and I like the family heirloom as the kind of MacGuffin to deliver her powers, since the show wants to explore her culture so much, since it wants to be so unique in that sense. And it makes a lot of sense, and it makes it feel personable, because this is a young girl that is so close to her family, still living with her parents and all that. It makes sense to let's use the powers, let's use the superheroics to explore the culture, to explore the coming of age part of this character's story and this character's world. Furthermore, as much as they changed her powers, the beats from the first 2 volumes of her comic that only came out in 2014, by the way, and I believe late 2014. So at this point, this is a character that is not even 80 years old in comparison from when she first emerged in the comics to now having her own live-action TV show. But the beats from the comics, as much as the powers are changed, they're essentially all there. I'm not going to spoil anything in case you haven't read the comics, so I'd be accidentally spoiling the show, but the beats, character and story-wise, are all there. The conflict that she has with her friends, going to Avengers Con, her school bully, all that. That's all there. That brings the character, who she is from the comics, fundamentally to life in this show. Even the sprinkles in of connection to the MCU. This is a character that is very connected to the ins and outs of the MCU, the story of the MCU so far. Not only Kamala Khan, but you'll see that Iman Vellani is as well if you see any interviews from her on the red carpet or on the press tour for this show. But what defines this character, the music she listens to, the films she likes, her going through these awkward phases in her teen years. She meets a boy and she starts to feel things, the conversation that she has with him and with her friends, all very specific to this character who would come from this background with this culture, this very traditional family, from this Muslim religious background, all that, plus even characters that are referenced very specific to this character. Obviously, this character would refer to this character as like one of her favorites and all that, and you'll see what that means when you see this show. So this, on a character level, on a distinct visual style, it really works. I think it has a few issues. Again, we're a third of the way in at this point, at least I am, and this is a show that particularly in the second episode feels a little bit too busy. Kamala has all these issues. She has an issue that she wants to help her best friend with. She has an issue she wants to help her other best friend with, that he is helping her, finding about these powers, trying to control it, all that. She has now this boy she just met, and now these issues with her family, and then all the responsibilities that entails. So it feels a lot in the second episode, particularly, that Kamala is like, she's being inserted into all these other conflicts, but her story is kind of standing there for a little bit. It's not advancing a lot. And again, being a show that is only going to be 6 episodes, being a third of the way in, that feels like we need to hurry things up. So it feels like the story is not as well laid out by the end of the second episode as the characters and the world are. We're still doing a lot of world building in that second episode, and it just seems like they should pace themselves up a bit. And that leads me into my bigger issue, again, bigger at least right now, the third episode might fix all of this, and that is that I don't really know where this is going. This show has very compelling family and character dynamics, and again, that it is main focus. This coming of age part of the show is the flavor, is the cake, and then the superheroics are the cherry on top. But you know the superheroics are what's going to bring it home, and I just don't see the line on the horizon on that. I don't see where this show is going in regards to that. Even how it all converges, I don't really know where it is going. And it's not like they're doing one of those, oh, who is the mystery villain in this? They're not doing that. They're not even doing that. There is just no sense of, are we going in this direction? I don't know. And that feels a bit troublesome, concerning rather, given that already a third of the way in. So, the world building is great. The characters are great, they're lovable, they're fantastic to watch, and the show carries this sense of wonder, not only about the story, about finding out you have superpowers, and you can be a superhero if you want to, and you live in this fantastical world with these fantastical characters that you see all the stories about, and it's real. But where's this specific story heading? And I don't really know. So overall, it's a show that lays great foundations for its characters, for its distinct visual style, even with its music, with its colors, and obviously its interesting connections to the MCU while focusing on its own thing, but the story itself just needs to trim out a few of its edges. Ms. Marvel is a refreshing point of view character in the MCU. A distinct style and a unique cultural background make it worth the watch, but it can feel just a little bit small and too intimate for its own good. But those are only my thoughts on Ms. Marvel so far, the first 2 episodes. Let me know what you think about it. If you've seen the first episode, the second episode, anything and everything down there. Thank you so much for watching, and big thank you to my channel members for always supporting this channel. And I'll see you very soon in more videos. So until the next one, love each other and love the movies.